I am Justin Arnett Graham.
And I'm Nariba Shepherd. And this is Terms of Service.
Hello again. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
I know.
How are you feeling?
Monday.
I mean,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Different Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still a Monday.
Yeah, but it still feels like a Monday.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's fair. How you been? What's been going on?
Just ate some not chicken nuggets from over at Big Kids, you know?
Yeah.
Feeling great.
Yeah.
Love that. Whatever the ranch powder situation is on the outside of it, MSG, amazing.
Fire.
I don't know. I'm very contemplative, you know, now that
Pensive, if you will.
now that I am 33,
All right.
I have been like, what am I doing with my life? Which I have been asking that question since I was like 17. So,
Fair.
you know, I feel like now I just gotta like make some grown-up choices and maybe sell my soul to a management position. I don't know.
I mean,
You know, bitches got to do work.
you know,
That's it.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that's all I can say on that.
However,
Yeah.
I will say that
Don't forget where you came from.
I will never.
Okay, it's just like
I
these
didn't do
managers
that.
out here. These managers
I did not
out
do
here.
that when I was an
forget-
executive
Okay.
chef.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it now.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone keeps saying that. I got it.
I'm not saying you.
Yes.
I'm just saying
In general, the people out there
Yes.
going from that hourly to that salary.
Yeah.
Don't forget where you came from.
Acting real fucking brand new
Just
out
because
here.
you know garlic doesn't mean you forget about garlic powder. Saying it.
that. Absolutely.
Don't forget where you came from. Positive notes. My brother and sister who do not speak have come together to buy me a new mattress and bed frame due to the dumpening. I'm going to say it in every one.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, but he had my sister-in-law call my sister to communicate splitting the cost of this on my behalf, which is,
That's
you know,
precious.
it is, they don't talk. So that was a lot.
Yeah, that sounds like
They did
my
not
sister
talk
and I.
for it, but yeah.
Yeah, I was just like,
It's happening.
yeah, I'm like me and my sister. Listen,
Yeah.
you have to part like all the seas out here, not just the Red Sea, honey, for her and I to ever speak again.
I mean, I
So,
have another
we'll
brother
see.
like that. We just don't talk about him.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't drop her name.
There you go.
But anyhow,
We are broken people.
you know, but we're doing our best.
Yes.
We're absolutely doing our best.
That's all I'm saying. How are you doing? Are you out here taking naps? Staying hydrated?
You know, I am committing myself to enjoy more things that are green. I am forcing myself to hydrate as much as I possibly can. I have a ridiculous amount of product at my place from a brand that is not a part of this episode, so we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I have been drinking a ridiculous amount of it,
Okay.
and I feel better.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you know?
Now you can save that information for when you are talking about the brand and be like, you know what? I like this shit.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's been a very, very long time coming, and I would be shocked if they started giving anything more than cases of what is currently sitting in my closet.
Heard. Okay.
So, and that has taken up the, I don't know, like a solid 60% of my refrigerator.
Damn.
Gotta keep that shit ice cold.
God damn.
Yeah.
All right.
Wild. We can talk about that shit off mic.
Yeah.
But anyhow, new episode,
I know.
new day,
Who dis?
new time.
Period.
And, you know, I feel like every episode is special in and of itself for a multitude of reasons. But this, I feel, really speaks to the empowerment of the people and the wellness that people oftentimes don't often see themselves as worthy of having and experiencing. And with that, I would like to welcome Victor Chan. How are you, Victor?
An honor.
Oh, that honor is all
An honor.
ours.
I'm blown away by everything, by the personalities, the dynamic, the production, the team.
We just out here talking shit on the internet.
I mean, you know what? It's just like, and they keep tuning in. So I'm
some
like,
reason.
yeah, I was like, oh, you know, you want to talk about broken people? You know, it's just like, you know, we're just out here together.
But through this podcast, have you learned that there are so many broken people? We're all kind of broken on the inside.
110%.
Victor, just getting us like right into it.
Yes.
So, but before we do all of the things, as per tradition,
Yes.
what is your sign?
Sign is is Pisces.
Yeah.
Does that track? I don't know. You guys don't know me too
I
well.
mean,
yet.
Well,
yeah,
we'll discover
yeah.
that as
All
the
right,
conversation goes
Yeah.
on.
Cool.
Yeah.
But there is a sort of like deep and timeless connection between Pisces and Aries because it's the balance. Because Aries is the beginning of the zodiac and Pisces is the end. I mean, I'm baby, and you're just like, I came to this world an old person, and I'm feeling all my feelings on the outside.
So very wise.
Yes.
I love
Yeah.
that. I believe my moon is in Pisces.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you are part of the Virgo rising gang. That's us.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it would only make sense that you, like, found another person with your big three. You trash garbage.
I mean, hold on.
If you want to take it a step further, there's this book in front of you, Nariba.
I saw it
okay.
and I was like, is this coming for me? Because, you know,
It's titled "The Secret Language of Relationships." Have you seen this?
I've never
I was
seen
wondering
this
if you had
before.
this book
No.
actually. Open the front cover, and you match up two dates, and you go to that page number, and you get to learn how that dynamic would be. Yeah, mouth is wide open right now, guys.
Okay.
Listen, right now I'm not in a place to be emotionally reading books because I'm still in my Grey's Anatomy rewatch. Okay. But when this is like, I feel like I want to know more about this. Is this? Can I take a picture of it?
Well, that's a belated birthday gift for you.
What the fuck?
Oh.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
So, and what doesn't that
Victor?
lead into a segment of like that's the art of hospitality?
Yes,
My
it
God.
does, Victor.
I didn't even know I needed this, and now I have it because
And
of
someone that is in the front
hospitality.
row, I was just
God
like, I'm
damn it.
here for
I'm so excited
all
for
of
this.
Oh
This is
my
gonna
God.
bring my game up for season 4 so hard.
Okay.
Oh, so in the first, so I used to read tarot cards a lot, and I feel like somewhere like halfway through my relationship, and I'm talking to my therapist about this, but I feel like, you know, when someone tells you something and you already know it, I feel like when I was reading my cards, it was telling me something that like I felt like I already knew. And so I just stopped reading my tarot cards. And like last week was the first time in like almost 2 years that I like read my cards. And sure enough, the fucking ancestors were like, this is the same shit we've been telling you this whole fucking time. And I'm like,
Sometimes
So,
you just need to see it.
I
and
know, I'm
and
leaning
be
into
told-
it.
Be told it right back to you.
So I'm very excited about this. I thought when I sat down and this was in front of me, I thought someone was coming for me because
I mean,
it was like, do you think that I didn't do my best in my relationship?
oh no!
That's a thick book.
Oh shit!
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
Wow!
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
You're very welcome.
That's so sweet.
All right. Well, that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, I was just like,
Just
well, I was
kidding.
like, cut it there.
I'm overwhelmed with emotion. That is Pisces shit right
Okay,
there.
yeah.
There you go. There it is.
Yeah, I'm
You
like,
know who else is a Pisces? Hunter.
oh,
And don't we love him? Yeah. So you're part of a good club.
Oh,
Aw.
I love it. Okay,
All right, let's get back to business so I can stop feeling my feelings.
you're like, let's really just like push him down.
I'm gonna
all the way
like,
there.
yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
It's okay.
That's why I keep going to therapy.
Got
you
it.
know?
Yeah.
You can't just stop when you think that it's better. I also learned that from Grey's Anatomy.
Mm.
Antibiotics.
Oh my God. Don't even get me started about antibiotics. It gave me the best and worst experience of my life, which is being the only sober person at karaoke for my friend's birthday. And the only thing they wanted me to do, Rolando, was sing Anaconda with them.
Yeah.
And then was like, by the time our song came up, they were like gone. So I carried the lyrics of the song and they handled the performance aspect of it. And yeah, I was on antibiotics, so I wasn't drinking, following the rules like a good girl. But it is like the first and only time I've ever karaoke'd.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have we talked about my go-to karaoke song?
No.
Summer Lovin' from Greece.
I've never seen that movie.
Well, you're going to see it by the time this episode drops. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll put some
and
work in.
Okay, well, you know, I do both parts. So,
Okay.
you know, I'm John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, and it is as wildly as embarrassing as you would think that it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
Oh, just like you, I probably just started karaoke
Okay.
recently because my fiance is Filipino and she it's huge in their family.
Yeah.
And I had to bring something, so I was like, put anything on. I'll go. I'll do
Oh,
it.
was it? What was
karaoke
it?
roulette?
Yeah, put whatever. It was just like old hard rock songs.
Okay.
Okay.
With her dad. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you not think that we would know an old hard rock song? Name it. Try us. Come on, Victor.
Do you remember?
I don't even remember.
Okay,
it was,
okay,
it was
so
just,
there's
it was
so
just
much
pretty
pressure.
lit. I mean,
No,
I'll
that's
just
fine.
sing anything you put on
That's fine.
screen.
So,
I feel like
AC/DC shook me all night long.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thunderstruck, shook me all night long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah,
I feel like
okay.
if I
Iconic.
were to do it
Iconic.
again, it's definitely gonna be that. It's either gonna be the Vanessa Carlton song that's always stuck in my head.
A Thousand
like,
Miles?
yes, every time I have a moment of panic at work, like as soon as too many tickets come in, I'm like, and if I could, yeah,
Wow.
I stopped
Okay.
before
yeah,
the
no, that's
second.
fair. Yeah. So,
but
like, that's like your audible gratitude rock?
I guess.
Wow.
And then, so I would definitely sing. I watched Broy do it the other night when I got broied, aka you go to have a drink and
Yep.
then you're at karaoke at 2:00 in the morning. And
We love
like
Broy.
they do like roulette karaoke.
Yeah,
And
I can't get
yeah,
behind that.
just like whatever when you get up there and then they are playing it. It was like the one with the loneliness killing you. And I can't sing it.
You're talking about
copyright.
Yeah, you're talking about the
Still Believe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
that
is-
one, that Britney Spears one. That's what I would do.
That one, you know, like the high school, the school,
100%.
you know, the gymnasium,
And
yeah, yeah.
Not to be confused with the song from the movie Crazy entitled Drive Me Crazy, which also has a scene
about-
in a high school.
Also, is about
Yep.
Also,
You got to
the
differentiate your Britneys.
Yeah, the Stop remix, absolutely. Come on now. Well,
Tangent.
yeah, that was
Number
fun.
one.
Yes. So, Victor,
What brings you here today?
yes, I mean, we're going to get into it all, but let's start with your background. Who are you? And then we're going to go into all the amazing things
It's
that you do.
tough because like you go through this like existential crisis of trying to develop a career, but then you reach a point where you don't want to be defined by your work.
That.
So,
know what?
so
I'm
how
glad
do
we're
you
having this
label it? How do you
conversation
label it,
today.
right?
Yeah.
So you know, it could be son, brother. As far as work, I'm a paramedic by trade, but I feel like imposter saying that because I haven't been on an ambulance since 2018. Right?
That's real.
You had to make the hard decision to leave patient care because you were making $13 an hour and
Which
I couldn't afford to hire a dog walker.
When we
Yeah,
talked about
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
But I also just
Saving
really,
lives for a living.
Really quickly,
no money.
I just wanted to mention how, like, you were talking about, you know, you're a son and a brother. I have literally never identified with either one of those.
Oh, yeah, no. When I think about myself, I never think of like sister. I think about, no, I don't even really think about daughter. either. Dang, am I a person?
Yeah.
You know what?
We gotta
Here's
unpack
the thing.
that.
Let's
Yeah.
unpack it, because I recently caught up with a previous client, now friend. I shot her wedding, and she was back in town, and I was telling her about how wedding planning was going and how much of a struggle it's been to try to share this with my parents, in the sense that they are more stoic, traditional, whereas my fiance's parents are open and warm. It's like an open door policy, and their ability to pay attention to the fine details is so admirable. And it's like they remember the names of my friends that they've never met before. And they ask how my wedding photography is going, they listen to my podcast, right? And
we're about to. Yeah.
my I don't know. I wish I could have a friendship with my parents. I want that.
Yo, that is some real children of immigrants speak right there. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
You want that, and I'm also trying to realize, like, maybe they weren't raised with their parents asking them the questions or the curiosity that I seek from them right now.
I just talked about
So I'm
this.
not trying to put all the blame on them.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. So this is definitely a while drinking on my birthday porch situation. But I was like, you ever think about the fact that, like, as an adult, everything that I need to know, I can Google. Our parents were out there doing this without Google. They only had
respect.
Talking to other people. If they fucking dared to read a book about it, like, congratulations.
But they were also
They were just doing their best.
They were also following examples of what they've seen.
Exactly.
As well.
So I think that, like, for me, I never really had, like, a personal relation. Like, I knew nothing about my mom, I feel like, until I became an adult. And being, like, queer and from Trinidad is, like, we had a don't ask, don't tell sort of policy. And after my, like, first very serious relationship with a woman, I had to, like, talk to my mom about this. I'm like, I'm in a really healthy and stable relationship, and I really love this person and they love me. And, like, you put so much time and effort into my siblings' relationships and they're not stable or healthy, but they're in a heterosexual relationship. So, like, I just want to talk to you about stuff. And I think that sort of, thank you, really, like, opened up to have a more, like, candid relationship with her. Also, like, I'm the baby, so I get away with murder. But I will say that, like, I forced my mom to, like, laugh and joke and, like, play, and, like, it made me feel better about, like, crying in front of her and coming to her with, like, hard things, because I feel as though raising myself, I didn't have the opportunity to share those moments with, like, your mom, with, like, respect to all of the milestones of growing and whatever. But now we have, like, a really great relationship where I call her and I roast her for being retired and being on a hammock and wanting to get a book about birds so she could identify the ones in her fruit trees and fucking wind chimes. God damn. So yeah, it takes a lot of work, and you have to, like, it's generational shit. Like, she's gonna be 71 this year and I'm 33. Like,
yeah,
we are different people.
Absolutely. And it, you know, and I also want to preface this for those that are listening to this episode. They're like, well, this seems different. It's not that different, because we're actually talking about who.
Sorry.
We're actually talking about who we are as people foundationally, but then also how that reflects in the work that we do, but then ultimately the work that we aspire to do with how we're identified and how we identify.
This is not going to be part of our poll where you get to guess our race.
It will not. That is correct. And also, before we continue with, you know, Nariba so graciously being like, this is good as hell, because it is.
It tastes like the white part of a bomb pop.
Or a grapefruit, huh?
Yeah, like, so there's
it's floral, but
yes.
like,
so this is the Vernal Gimlet, and it is provided by our dear friends from Ritual Zero Proof with their gin alternative. And it's with lime juice, orange blossom water, and mint.
Yes.
And Cheyenne English,
Yes.
aka Miss_Perfect Pour,
Damn right.
has done it again because
Always.
this is fire. Thank you, Cheyenne.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. And so just had to take a nice little swig of this because it's
So good.
refreshing and delightful. And
I'm also
Wonderful.
a slut for like orange blossom. So.
okay. Fair.
Yeah.
So I want to I want to talk about so much, but specifically to begin, you also have a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I left. So let me connect the dots. So
Yeah.
I left the ambulance because I was also teaching an EMT class out of the University of Illinois Chicago with my good buddy Marty. And I'm only here because of him. Professionally and who I am as a person is a lot owed to him. And we met in college and we became good buddies. And he would plan these annual summer road trips and became very close. And I was making more from teaching at the time. And so I was paying the bills and I had to make the hard decision. I got 2 dogs at the time and I couldn't afford to hire a dog walker for my 2 dogs. It's like $30 per walk and you're at the firehouse for 24 hours.
What's your dog's names?
The older one, he's a shepherd mix, is Jack. And the younger one who's 4 is a pointer mix. She's Oi, H-O-Y. Originally named Ahoy. I got her very impulsively because it was National Adopt the Dog Day. I was with a friend. And we was like, it couldn't hurt. Let's do a lap around the pound at the PetSmart and Canal. And
You made eye contact.
we made eye contact. And on that day, they waived all the fees. And it's crazy stupid how easy it is to adopt a dog. It is crazy stupid. Like, they're like, sign this form. Do you ever have any roommates? Yeah, I got a roommate. And is he cool with it? Yeah, he's cool. My roommate was in the Philippines at the time. And he was cool with it, but there's no vetting. There's no, like, there are other
places that do that.
Yeah. But it was crazy stupid. So I was teaching for a bit, and then I was also doing tech. I was in the operating room at Northwestern as an anesthesia tech. So I was definitely getting the bills paid. But it wasn't until 2022 when we left the university to start our own company called Chicago EMT Training.
Okay.
And it's essentially the same product, if not better, that we had at UIC, but now there's no ceiling.
Yeah.
There's no, the room for potential is limitless now. We took a huge pay cut. My partner had a pension and the opportunity to pay full ride tuition for his kids if they wanted to go to UIC. And you leave that, right?
Yeah.
And it took 3 years of me convincing him to leave for him to feel comfortable taking that risk. And even though we're more stressed than ever these days, it's like, it's your own stress. It's stress for yourself. And anytime you want to make a big decision, you just have to ask one other person. And so we're growing this brand slowly. We had a successful first year in 2022, and that pays the bills now. And as we go on, I feel more and more of this imposter syndrome because I don't really feel like going back to the ambulance. And if I were to get back into medicine, it'd be through flight paramedicine. So I'd have to take another exam and get my certification to fly in either a helicopter or a private jet as a medic. And at the time, I also do wedding photography. And so it's getting nicer out.
Yeah.
Wedding season is coming back, and that's pulling my attention in that direction. And Justin, like you said, I do host a podcast, and it's been slow during the pandemic, but I'm trying to bring it back now. I used to average maybe 2 episodes a month. And like I said earlier, I'm very amazed at how well produced, from the discovery call to the show notes to all the prints, all the equipment that you have to lug.
Justin is a fancy bitch. And we love him for that.
The ability to
Thank you.
to produce or have the bandwidth to have 3 long form conversations in one day, to me, is exhausting.
I mean,
It's
fulfilling.
I feel like at the end of every
Absolutely fulfilling.
Yeah, I feel like at the end of every recording, it's like I feel like reinvigorated.
Right.
Like that was. It's so interesting to talk and like speak to people, and it doesn't feel like it's some sort of like contractual
It's not
thing.
a chore.
Like yeah,
Yes.
and it the way that Justin pitched this idea and curated it made it so that we feel as fulfilled as the people when they leave us,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so like,
And we
stop it.
to go off another side tangent. You try to do this in your other industries.
Yeah.
In your other roles.
I am definitely burning out when it comes to talking to people at work. And it's not like I enjoy doing it, but when I leave and I go home, I feel more tired than when I was in the kitchen. Because like, even though I'm working essentially like a third of the hours, I spend so much more energy like having short, mostly meaningless conversations / I realized that bartending is like 75% flirting recently. I didn't realize how much I'm just like trying to have a regular conversation, but then also like my personality. Give me your pesos. I don't know. It's weird. Like, I just feel like more emotionally exhausted, but at least I recognize that and I try to do my best to like find ways to recharge my inner introvert.
Well, because it's mentally taxing, right? Because it's one thing to have a very organic, just like beautiful conversation, right? But it is an entirely different beast to have these snippet conversations, act as if, you know, you're invested in people to where like that investment is only monetary, right?
Yeah.
Because
it's a transactional relationship.
It is a transactional relationship.
Yeah.
And, you know, hospitality has been built that way. I mean, I've talked about it extensively in the past to where it is commodified and, you know, who you are as an individual is just someone to generate sales, to further the sustainability of the business. And that's definitely something that we're going to get into a little bit later within the context of this conversation. But the reason why I bring it up is because you can have 1,000 conversations, right? Like 1,000 interactions. And when you connect with just one, it helps remind you why you like do it in the first place. Right? You know, it's not always transactional. It's like, you know what? I would probably remember that person if I passed them on the street.
Oh yeah, I remember.
You know,
people.
like I would actually do. I don't. And I have made that very clear as I have gotten older.
I remember faces,
people
but I
like,
don't know your
God.
name.
They'll be like, oh my God,
I mean,
how have you been?
I go out
like,
with you.
And I'm just like, hey, it's so good to see
I mean, part of that is a mindset thing. I try to tell people, especially when we're doing day one of class, they're like, I'm not good with names, I'm sorry. Well, you're just putting yourself in a bad start if you're already in the mindset of not being good with names.
Yeah.
And so have the intention of trying to be good with names, try to associate something that's unique about them, and then hopefully it'll stick better. But things like active listening, being able to repeat what that person has said to you goes a long way.
Yeah.
And part of the art of hospitality is the ability to pay attention.
Right.
And remember the little details.
Yeah, because you also need to be, you know, agile within hospitality as well. And that's where it gets really interesting because, again, a high percentage of interactions can feel very transactional, and your agility is going to be anchored in, you know, the revenue that you're mentally forecasting in your mind. It's just like, okay, they're here to spend, you know, their birthday, their anniversary. Don't get me started on people's birthdays and anniversaries. And just a sidebar, there is a absolutely hysterical podcast out there called I've Had It.
Oh my God.
And it's these two older white women, and they just go through the list of the things that they have had it with. And now, because of them, I am comfortable enough to be like, you know what? And I've had it.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, you know what? Thank you so very much, those random white women, because it's the funniest thing ever, but it's so real.
I feel like
because
the podcast,
you just stop it there.
I feel like the podcast that we listen to separately will never overlap.
Oh no. No.
I'm out here listening to like murder mystery podcasts. Black true crime podcast, y'all.
No.
Give it a look see. It's so good. Those ladies are hilarious.
Can't do it. I got to talk to these. I've had it. And then also it's the what's the other one? Shits and Gigs.
Oh yeah, you are very into that. I can tell by TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me started on that. But the reason why I bring all of this up is because there is a certain level of tolerance that I feel is a natural boundary that it's a double-edged sword, right? Like you don't want to give too much because you don't want to feel taken advantage of, because the environment naturally already makes you feel as if you're being taken advantage of. But then also, if you feel as if you have gone way above and beyond, but then the revenue does not match that, then you're just like, well,
giving shit away for free.
I did not say that. I'm just saying it's just like providing them with like exceptional service.
Yeah.
They've hit whatever threshold makes sense to that individual of just like, 20% of that, it's fine. I'm fine with taking that like with a two top, but outside of that, it becomes really dangerous thinking, because then when you start really diving into it deeper on your outer relationships, those can become transactional as well. And that is, the longer you're in hospitality or longer you're in, guest facing environments, you just start to see your fellow other as someone that is less than human, if that makes sense. Like in my mind, that is just how it all comes together. And I'm not saying that in a negative context. I'm literally just saying it because when you're trying to take care of your position, you're trying to take care of your guest, when you're trying to make sure that you're elevating a brand to the level to where you have been conditioned to know that they're supposed to be, eventually you're just like, I have given so much of myself to others, and it's hard to feel as if like you've been poured back into.
Yeah. Which is like why I stopped chefing, because I was pouring all of my shit into other people and I had nothing for myself, which is like,
have you been told a dream that like you keep working so hard at this that one day you will have your own?
Yeah. And that's the thing though. I never wanted my own, like I honestly like don't know what I want to do with my life like all the time. And I feel like I've been given a lot of opportunities to try different things and I'm like really good at them. But I feel for me, like I want to feel passionate about something the way that other people feel passionate about things that they do for a living. So I'm out here just like, I'll try anything and see like if this works. Yeah, but the best way that this has been described to me is from my high school dance teacher. And she was like, I feel like you're a very beautiful technical dancer. Like you can do all of the things that you need to do. But when I look at you dance and when I look at this other girl dance, the difference is that she has like this emotional connection to it that you see in her movement. And it's like, she's like, you're not bad. You're just not good. Okay. And like Miss Vogel, listen, she was a wild one.
I mean, I can tell by what you literally just said.
Yeah. But she's not wrong. Like I know I'm a very good second in command, but I don't feel confident in my ability to be in charge of myself. Like I feel like I'm not at a point right now where I could like run a business and I am like the person in charge of it and I do all of the day-to-day things. Like I know that I'm not set up for that. So I do things that I know that I'm good at.
That's huge.
You know?
Absolutely.
But I am still trying to figure out, what the fuck I want to do with my life.
Well, I mean, to kind of comment on passion, I think I started the podcast at a point in my life where I felt burnt out teaching the CMT class, and I'm still teaching the CMT class. And the guest that came on, by the way, like social media is just crazy how things work. But this guy that came on is a guy that he's a bodybuilder. In college, I had his bodybuilding phase, and I was just super interested in it. And he would film his workouts, and he had this Illinois tattoo on his chest. And I'm like, oh, he's from Illinois. Like, his name is Ryan Doris, friend now, thankfully. And he eventually moved home. I had no idea. So he's in Chicago. And I wish him a happy birthday on social media, and he replies, when are you going to invite me on your podcast?
Oh.
And I'm like, you pay attention to my podcast? Like, I had no idea. So it was definitely a beautiful sentiment. It was my first guest that had a 3-hour long episode.
Wow.
And it was the first episode where I shared my feelings of not feeling good about or burnt out about teaching the CMT class. I'm no longer on an ambulance. I'm teaching something I'm no longer a part of. I feel this huge imposter syndrome. And he's like, you know what, man? Like, do whatever allows the chemicals in your brain to fire. Like if it's being a DJ at Coachella, if it's singing at Lollapalooza, if it's dancing, if it's being a chef, if it's teaching an EMT class.
I cannot sing, but you put me on a Lollapalooza stage, everything's firing upstairs. Okay? I'm just like losing it. I'd be like, and y'all are letting me be up here doing what? Great. Like, that would be a pivotal moment in my entire existence, knowing that I cannot carry a fraction of a note.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
at all.
This sense of, and I kind of use passion and fulfillment interchangeably, but that sense of fulfillment comes at the intersection of something you're interested in, something that you're good at, something that you can monetize, and something that is of service to someone.
Okay. And
when you can, and it's overwhelming to try to think of that one thing that crosses all those things. In addition to that, Scott Adams, the creator of Gilbert, or maybe Dilbert, I think it's Gilbert. The comic strip.
Dilbert.
Do we fucks with him
Dilbert.
still?
Gilbert.
Did he go on a
Isn't
rant
he
the other day?
racist?
He racist as
Scott
fuck.
Adams? I had no idea.
Oh,
Hold on.
Let's just double check before we go on.
No. Okay,
But keep
carry
going.
on.
Hopefully it's a different dude.
No, it's like an old white dude who said, like, basically, I just live in a place where there are no black people around so that I don't have to deal with it. It him, right? Yeah.
So, yeah. Cartoonists are pushing back against racist remarks made by Dilbert creator Scott Adams.
No way.
With one artist even using his own strip this week to lampoon the disgraced cartoon now dropped by newspapers nationwide.
It was like, he like really said it on his podcast, right?
Because
I remember thinking,
not to give him too much attention, but the point.
Yes. There was something that he did very recently that was a
big no-no,
very unfortunate misstep in his legacy, which, we do not believe in cancel culture here at Terms of Service. We believe in consequence culture. Absolutely. So that particular gentleman is going through the consequences of his actions.
Yes,
currently.
of course.
And that is what I will say about that.
The takeaway, the takeaway is he explained skill stacking. Mm-hmm. And so if you're not the 99 percentile of dancing, but you can be 75% or 80%, and all of a sudden you've now are aware of another skill that maybe you're 75, 80% at, and you start stacking certain skills, whether it's your ability to be an effective communicator because of your practice of podcasting, or
you are
the skills cultivated in the kitchen.
I do
whatever.
If you can
try to,
here.
Yeah,
you become irreplaceable. You become unique.
Well, okay, so this is the thing. I am aware of all of that. I know that I'm a good worker and employee and people want to work with me. But this is like, the depression and anxiety part of it is that and we talk about this a lot on the podcast, I just feel like there's a disconnect between doing things and being good at it and people telling me I'm good at it, and like accomplishing things and then feeling like I'm just doing my job.
So you're not getting some type of external validation, or
no, people externally validate me all the time. It's me.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm doing my job, you know? And when people are like, oh, you're so great, I hear the words that they're saying and their excitement like touches, but it doesn't penetrate. Like it doesn't stick with me.
If I can say one thing, it's a very generally specific thing that I'm about to mention. I feel like this is really important to bring up because yes, terms of service is anchored in the hospitality industry and all different facets of it. But also terms of service is a cultural dialogue. It really is this like overarching narrative. And for people that feel as if their worth is primarily justified via external external
sources.
External sources or like external validation, right? You know, that's part of a journey, right? Like it's not a destination. Because I remember when like people used to be like, oh yeah, Justin, like you're like super dope at this and like blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, you know what? Like I believe in myself enough and I'll like go out and do it. And I like fell on my fucking face with it, you know? And just like, because it still happens because it's like, hey, you know, like life will humble you like real quick. It's just like, hey, you get to do like all of this amazing things. And then it's just like, well, when the fuck are we going to do like the next thing? You know? And it's just like, you know, you constantly feel as if you're fighting to justify the momentum.
Yeah.
When the fact of the matter is, it's just like life ultimately is a, you know, and I have to convince myself about this quite often. It's like, it really is a beautiful challenge of like working your way upstream.
Yeah.
You know, because you can just be like pushed back and just go and like, you know, whatever happens. But then ultimately, when all of those things compound upon itself, it becomes borderline impossible to get out from underneath it.
Yeah.
I'm of the mindset of like letting life happen. And trying to flow with life instead of fight with life, right?
Yeah. And also, I think that's great because it's like, it's very different life experiences because
I only want to fight life.
Yeah. I mean, and I've just been in so many situations to where it's just like, it just felt like it was constantly like having to like, you know, validate myself, validate the people that I work with, justify an idea, you know, and it's like, it's those things. And like, I'm 37 now. So it's like all of those things when I look back at it, it's just like, it's felt like it's been a mountain to climb, but it's also been fulfilling, right? Because you go with the flow on certain things in my mind, in my experience, but then you really like put your, you know, like you're standing 10 toes down and like what you want to do and what you see is a massive opportunity, not just for you independently, but also like your community and your family, your culture, your legacy, you know, and that is where I like, because before we began this conversation, I was like, oh, well, like, let's figure out the ways to like anchor this in like hospitality, but I don't actually give a shit about that anymore, to be quite honest, because it's like, again, when people listen to this, I want them to think like, okay, not only are they getting to know myself and Nariba better, they also get to know who you are and like your thought process and your mindset, because it can help them like elevate themselves or even just, you know, stay even keel with what they're doing and try and find some factions of passion amongst it.
And also just like bringing a little bit of self-awareness to people in the service industry because we like interact with people all day. We're giving. And a lot of the times it's hard.
Honey. No.
Damn right. And a lot of the time I feel like a lot of the other like bartenders and servers that I interact with feel like people don't communicate with them like outside of work. Like it's a very solitary lifestyle when you are out all day doing that and then you go home and you live by yourself and you've like talked about what seems like nothing all day and then you don't have anyone to talk to about it afterwards.
Yeah, you
and
don't feel
think
like you
that
have anyone to talk to about something.
Yeah. And so like I think that this is a good reminder that we're all humans and we share a lot of experiences. Because sometimes, like what you said, like customers will say and do things. And I'm just like, but you're a human being, you know? And I think that this is a moment where we are all remembering that we're human beings together.
So today I saw a clip from the Rich Roll podcast. He had Rainn Wilson on, and Rainn Wilson had a quote that said, "We are spiritual beings living a human experience rather than human beings living a spiritual experience."
Dwight do be weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so I also remembered something when you were talking about like stacking skills. I think the movie's called Uptown Girls with Brittany Murphy and Dakota Fanning. And Dakota Fanning is like the child in the situation and is explaining to Brittany Murphy that like fundamentals are the building blocks of success and how you have to like have these different skills. And when you get all these skills, then you'll be successful. And that's going to replace Dilbert. That's what we're going with. You know, it's just
nice on bringing it full circle.
So like, I don't know. I don't feel confident in a lot of things, but I am confident in my ability to be a very good worker.
Well, when you said you can run your own business and maybe just didn't feel ready to, I don't think any of us feel ready to.
Well, that's what everyone is telling me these days. Like, you never feel ready. You just have to do it.
And you also don't have to do it alone.
Yeah.
And but that's the thing. I think about everything in terms of doing it for myself.
Because of you guys, I got to connect with Jackson Flores. I live down the block from Dish Roulette Kitchen. Right?
Okay, so I still haven't listened to it because I am emotional. But no, I'm talking. Jackson sent me a voice memo for my birthday on Instagram. It's in my DMs, but I haven't clicked on anything because I just slept for the last 12 hours.
Did you leave her on red?
I did not leave her on red.
Did you open it?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. I don't open anything until I could commit to a response.
Okay, that's fair.
And I knew that we were doing this today, and I day drank for 2 days straight. So I needed to sleep for 12 hours and shower before coming here today.
Fair.
So yeah, that's what I'm going to do on my way home in this Lyft.
Okay.
You want to split a car? Sick.
Okay. Nice.
So yeah. Jackson,
so
I'm
literally
amazing.
just like
I'm happy.
I'm in the process of trying to start a nonprofit.
Yeah.
The nonprofit, its mission is to raise awareness for emergency medicine and what it can do for you, as well as teach everyone how to stop a bleed using a tourniquet. Because regardless of your thoughts on firearms, if you were shot, you should know how to use a tourniquet. You should buy a $30 life-saving device.
Listen, bitch. I was talking to my best friend about connecting her to you because she works in wound care, and she's like, the number one thing when people come in is like lack of training for gunshot wounds. And she's like, I feel like I want to do this class to educate people on it. And I was like, I think that you would like to meet this gentleman. And I was like,
let's make it happen.
But I was like, I wasn't sure if it would mesh just right. And you just said all of the things that Delaney said. And I'm like, all right, perfect. So I'll connect you guys.
Yeah, and
It's coming.
in addition to that, it's trying to create buckets for scholarships for people in financial need.
Oh my God. Not like in the movie Sorority where they needed 11 buckets to pay rent. No, different kind of buckets. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, not literal buckets of cash.
No.
Sick.
The school is in Pilsen, so we want to dedicate a fund just for Pilsen and Little Village residents, people that maybe had a family member that died on the line of duty. And it's just we need something separate because we've been speaking at high schools and trade fairs, and I've been paying my instructors to go speak. But that money shouldn't come from the class. That should come from something else. So
That is correct.
I have no idea where to start with a nonprofit, and thankfully Jackson, came into my purview because of you guys. So she was a pleasure to meet, and she even connected me with Brian Soto, the CPA. So it's just
Oh yeah.
Listen.
See,
it's
Jackson.
you talked about
look
being
at the work out here.
vulnerable
Yes.
in hospitality, and it's like it's necessary to be vulnerable, and it's really up to you how vulnerable you want to get.
That is correct.
But you'll never be able to go deep with someone. You will never be able to experience maybe joy if you never put yourself out there and risk getting ghosted or risk getting hurt.
What is a risk?
Being vulnerable, putting yourself out
Yeah.
there.
I mean, we put ourselves out there with this.
Yeah.
I don't
time
think
we
What if
about
someone's
that.
like, that's a trash episode, Vic Chan?
I fucking wish someone would say that.
It's like, you can hit that unfollow down. It's fine. We're good. I'm like,
Okay,
we'll be just fine.
I
Okay?
very rarely look at our reviews or anything, and every time I go on Apple Podcasts, someone gave us 1 star, and I
Yeah.
always think I wish they had left a review so that I could know why. You
They
know,
don't do that. They won't do that.
No.
They'll never do that.
But that's the thing.
They'll never do that because there's always going to be someone, something, somewhere
Yeah.
that like knocks you down a peg. Because God forbid, I had this. I went on this like diatribe a few weeks ago. I was like losing my mind about this individual that like I was friendly with for the past couple of years, but he has an opinion about me and just the things that I'm up to, and he's like, yeah, if you've ever like listened to Terms of Service, it's a snooze fest. Which, by the way, if he happens to be listening to this, I'll see you when I see you. But what is very interesting is that he has never said that to me. He has always said it to people around me because he likes the response that he gets when he's talking about me to others. And that is what I have found so fascinating, because the one thing that I kept talking about is just like people can feel however they want to feel about the work that we do here. But we are putting ourselves out there to be able to create a different narrative for a community that we identify with and that we actually give a shit about. So if you want to sit somewhere and have an opinion about what it is that we do, then the question naturally comes for me is just like, and what are you doing?
That's the Teddy Roosevelt daring greatly quote. The man
That's
in the,
my
the,
big
the man
stick.
in the arena.
That's my big stick.
It's very cheap to buy a seat in the audience, right? It's just very cheap to sit there and judge and criticize, but you really have
Unless
to just
you're going to a Beyonce concert.
Listen.
Yeah, right. Unless you're an EMT at the Beyonce concert, then you get paid to watch that
God.
show. Huh?
Oh my gosh. I never thought about it that way, actually.
This woman came into my bar one day and sat down, and she was like, I'm celebrating. And I was like, what? And she was like, I got Beyonce tickets. I went to the fucking walk-in and screamed because I was like, what the fuck? Like, when people that exist in the world, one, actually got a ticket, and two, could pay for that, I'm perplexed.
You have to identify what brings you joy. But then
That's what we were saying this whole time.
Be very cutthroat about things that don't bring you joy.
Oh, 110%. I'm good at that part. It's the other part. I'm like, I want to try crocheting because I feel like that might bring me joy.
That's fair.
But then I think about like my sensory overload. And I'm the kind of person that's like, okay, Grey's Anatomy is on the TV. I am on Instagram going through reels.
You talk about Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy is life.
About Law and Order SVU, and I'm here for it.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yes. And I like now I have a Game Boy, so I'm like on my Switch, and I feel like if I could just like cross stitch or crochet and do something where I could just pay attention to one screen, that might make me a little bit happier. But it's sort of like when I'm at work and the music stops playing and I'm like, I can hear my own thoughts. I immediately need to put on new music.
So what do you think about that?
I think that's what it's like.
I mean, are you trying to sit with your thoughts?
No, absolutely not. That's why I don't do yoga. Everyone's like, meditate. And I'm like,
it doesn't have to be meditating. It just be quiet.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't want that. In my brain, there needs to be something else happening because I don't want to have to deal with my own thoughts, which is, I know. I went to school. I went to school for therapy. I have a therapist. We talk about it all the time. She's still mad at me because every time we go into a session post the dumping, she's like, how do you feel about your relationship? Do you want to talk about that? I'm like, no, Molly. I just would like to move forward now. So I know I'm the problem and I'm working on it. But it's hard when you've been living your entire life in survival mode and now people are like, a bitch gotta live. I'm like, live where? I've been surviving this whole time. I'm an island. And now you like want to throw me into like a community? That's crazy.
And that's what's beautiful about these long form discussions is you really get to know that person on an individual basis rather than generalizing who they are based on what little you know of them.
Exactly. Not just creeping.
Or
which
research.
is research. Yes, I know everyone.
Yep.
Research.
Yeah. So
Where do you want to take this? Do you want to take this to the podcast, the EMT stuff? Where do you want to go?
I want to continue taking it at everywhere, but before we continue to do that, like, one, I just can't get over like your voice because this is like, I literally feel as if like I'm like laying down and like telling you all of the things.
Within the last 2 weeks, my podcast page has gained maybe 12,000 followers.
You're killing it.
And it's the 2 Instagram reels where I read Bianca Sparacino's poems about love. And a lot of the comments refer to how my voice is a tonic.
Are people thirsting?
Some are. And I proudly say that I'm happily engaged.
I wasn't saying
it
that.
Ain't gonna
Not even.
I was
some are coming from a platonic perspective, others are thirsting maybe,
yes.
but which is
very
flattering.
It's very calming. It's very like, you know, like I feel relaxed. I'm just like,
I like kind of want to tell you anything, but I also remember that everyone on the internet can hear it too.
Fair, very fair.
And I'm trying to remember why I started this podcast in the first place, because I do feel this external pressure to change or create higher quality content because I have so many more eyeballs and ears like tuning in now. And I'm also trying to remember what are my priorities in life and how much time I should be spending with the people I should be spending it with, my fiance Justine, my friends, and I think one of the questions on the show notes is like, how do you maintain all these things?
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's hard. And just like after each conversation, I veg out. I'm just like, I need a nap.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I do live and die by my calendar. So if it's not there, it's just like, I'm not aware of it.
Absolutely not.
that is me.
I have become better at that because of Justin.
That's awesome.
But I don't do it for myself.
Yeah,
Here's the thing, though.
We're talking about an upstream.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. There it is. All right. Because we are here right now, and I'm not even going to look to see, but there is a probability that Nariba has not confirmed that she will be here, but I know that she's
110%. I did not.
Yeah, for sure.
We had a conversation on the phone. It was rescheduled. I'm free on that day. Yes,
Okay.
I will be there. And I confirmed yesterday, even though I was a drunk bitch, that I was going to be here. So
It's okay.
yeah.
I mean, that being said, you need to allow yourself the opportunity for serendipity to happen. So don't be too rigid. Don't be too structured.
Are you looking at me through that pop filter right now, Nariba? Because I was like, hold on. Okay, yes. I completely agree.
Yes.
Okay. However, I most certainly will throw it out there, and Nariba is gonna like reach over this table and like smack me upside my head, but it's okay. It's okay. Just using the terms of service email address
Oh my
for
God.
any random like sign up and trial. But you know what? That is that's a level of fluidity that I have come to truly adore from her. It's great. It's great. And I believe it's so
I'm
joyous.
a garbage pail kid.
No, you're wonderful.
I mean, you can still be wonderful and be a garbage pail kid. It's not mutually exclusive.
What do you choose to share with the public?
Oh, if you've been on my Instagram, you know that I do not give a fuck what people see of me. I had like this manic moment.
The nails are always popping though.
The nails are always popping. Actually, right now, I have Mary on my middle finger praying for the downfall of my enemies.
Oh.
But damn it, you distracted me from the thing. Okay, let's try to do this.
Okay.
Where was I? Nails. Oh, when I had that manic moment and I decided I wanted pink eyebrows, and I just rolled out of bed and like Instagram storied the entire thing.
Yeah.
And they looked really good, but it was like, why did I put this on the internet? And then a year later, I want to say maybe it was someone from the podcast brought it up while we were recording and was like, that was like the best thing I ever saw because you were just like crazy, but in real life. And I was like, yeah, okay. And that's the thing, I like own my crazy. So I recently posted it as a stagnant thing because so many people are like, remember that time you like lost your mind and you bleached your eyebrows? Never forget.
Oh, and we're going to continue on.
Yeah.
But the thing that I was going to mention is I almost used an image of that to wish you a happy birthday.
You should have.
But I did not.
100%.
But I did not do it. I didn't.
I will say the one thing that I am annoyed by right now is that video of my last set of nails with the pop art thingy. Today I looked at it for the first time and it has over 3,000 likes and is close to 100,000 views. And I'm like, why can't you love the podcast things the way that you loved the nails? That's all I want. Just like, put that love out there. Do the thing.
It's a journey.
But yeah, no.
It's it's a journey.
Yeah, going back to like.
That's the thing. It's like once you receive the love, are you going to stop podcasting? You do it because you love the art of podcasting.
I love this part.
Right?
But I never think of other people listening to us. So like, it's wild that like Funeral Potatoes reached out to us and we did that thing.
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes I'm like, how did they hear about it?
And did you find out why? Did you find out how?
Yes. I have some notes from the thingy-jigger.
Yes.
But like, I don't know. I like made all my friends finish drinks because we were at the California Clipper and someone recognized my voice when I was saying bye to a friend as podcast voice. And I like was there and we did the interaction and I was like, yeah. And as soon as I walked away, I looked at my friends. I was like, you have to finish your drinks right now because this person just recognized me based on my voice. And I can't do that right now.
Ran home.
Legitimately ran home. I was like, no.
Yeah.
I got issues, but it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm working with it. It's fine.
So as Nariba is going through her notebook.
My note.
Question for you, Victor. So you are such like an empowering individual. Like from the things I've listened to, the conversations that we've had, also Levi speaks very highly of you.
Creeping on your Instagram, which I did a lot.
Research.
What'd you find? Because I have like 6 Instagrams.
No, the podcast Instagram.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, gotcha.
And so like to empower others, like where is that coming from?
The desire to leave the world a little better than when you
I don't have
came
that.
into it.
And that's the problem I feel like I have. Tell me, how did you find it?
I don't know. I just want to.
Damn.
Maybe it's
I want to.
Maybelline.
You know what? Like maybe it's the feeling you get from doing it. And just like money, relationships compound over time. And I want to surround myself with positive people.
Yeah.
People that inspire me.
You hear that, Nariba?
I feel like y'all are positive and you inspire me all the time.
Oh no, I'm just saying. Well, you obviously inspire us as well.
Oh.
Yeah. See,
Damn.
that's
That's a dot I be not connecting.
yeah.
So is that like a harp on like like perceived value versus actual value? Right, your friends would probably speak highly of you, and
Yeah.
maybe what your self-talk is maybe not as high, or
Oh, my self-talk is not very high, but I live my life off of like spite as a form of motivation. So even my inner dialogue is like, I'll cut off your foot.
use
smite
whatever
your face,
use
yeah.
whatever fuel you have to get into orbit. But then once you're in orbit, you have to find something that's a little more sustainable.
Well, that's what I'm looking for right now in life is like, how can I sustain this? Because I feel like I wouldn't say I'm very like all or nothing, but I kind of am. It's like, if I believe in something and I commit to it, that's like, I'm in it to win it. But the moment that I start to believe it's otherwise, I will cut and run, and it'll be like, you are a complete stranger to me type situation. So I am working on balance and boundaries, but it's hard out here because, you know, I raised myself. I'm very self-reliant and efficient, an island and all of that. But I somehow find myself surrounded by these beautiful people who do wonderful things. And I think I look at them and I wish that I had the passion and drive other people had. That, or like, I guess it's my perception of what I think other people's lives are like. But I feel like everyone has something and I don't have it. And maybe that's acid. Maybe I did too much acid and now
Is there such a thing?
Do you want to? I am
We don't have
like,
enough time. We don't have enough time. No.
I'm afraid of how much acid I've done. So yeah, I think my disconnect is definitely something that I'm prioritizing in therapy because I feel like I'm very good at my job. I'm good at things that I do in general. And I wish that I could feel joy in that. But I feel like the way I was raised, you like, there's no like second place prize in Trinidad, you know? And I feel like America is all about all of the prizes for everyone. And so like, that's my dismantling of building blocks to like try to find joy in things because I was never taught to look for that.
Yeah, and it's one thing to know it, and it's another to try to practice it. Right?
Yeah.
My ability to hustle comes from the lack of validation I got from my parents. And I was always reaching for something. I was hoping that all this striving and accomplishment like would show them that I can be a hard worker. I can do things on my own, and I can be successful. And unfortunately, it hasn't been met. And I, to be honest, I don't think it will be met. And I don't know if another source can fill that void.
Well, see,
I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not trying to put a plug here, but I literally feel as if this is the perfect time to mention this second offering from the wonderful
Thank you so much.
And I'm literally trying to be like, I'm like, this name is perfect, especially with what we're talking about. It's the last Rumdemption. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. Listen. Okay. Thank you, Cheyenne. That was perfect.
Yes.
Featuring yet again our friends from Ritual Zero Proof with a rum alternative, lime juice, pineapple with a spiced pear cordial from Apple Cordials. So thank you so much, Todd. We adore you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I meant to do
eating
this.
this.
I didn't.
Can I eat
Yeah,
this?
I think you can eat that. Yeah, you can eat that. Yeah, there we go. I was like, I didn't. Yes. Yeah. So we're coming up on time, but no, because like this,
Yeah.
like in my mind, like this conversation is like, it's
We
you,
could
Victor,
do this forever.
Yes, it's just like you, Victor, being a guest, but then also being like a conduit
host.
for like a larger conversation here, because your perspective and your expertise and just your wisdom is like, it's infectious to where I'm
Yeah.
like I want to know so much more. And I also just want to thank you for your willingness and everything that you are sharing that actually helps us get to engage with our audience deeper, but then also us learning so much from you. Like,
Likewise, guys.
Yeah.
And I think we're all doing good work.
Yeah.
If anyone asks, how do I start a podcast? Should I have a podcast? Yes, everyone should have a podcast. It gives you an excuse to have long form dialogue, which is
yes.
a
And if you
necessity
need your
these days.
podcast produced, feel free to reach out to connect at terms of
Absolutely.
service.media as we're building out our upcoming network.
Plug
Thank you
it,
so
plug
very
it,
much.
plug it, plug it, plug it, plug it.
No, but yeah, I have a final question.
Okay, I'm writing.
Okay,
Yeah,
no
let's
worries.
do it.
So, Victor, like, what would you say to those that are struggling in separating their identity from their labor? Because you touched upon hustle culture, right? And so, and a lot of that seems to be generational, right? Like, I remember, like, my mom just like, she's retired in Arizona, and she hates Arizona, so she's coming back to Illinois. But it
Sorry.
it is what it is. Thank you so much. But
I waver. It's a balance for me. I understand that your identity is not completely your work, but my podcast, its foundation is based on creating meaning through your work. So there's a balance with that.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get caught in identifying yourself with your work. But it's the people around you. It's the relationships that you have. It's who you are as a human being, your essence, that make you who you are. It's okay to not know what you want to do for work. But my follow-up question, if Nariba didn't have that answer, is just like, what are you doing to find meaningful work? What are you doing to find out what you enjoy in life? And if you are exploring, kudos to you. You're doing a great job.
I'm trying.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
Yeah. Well,
And the pros and cons of social media is we are so connected these days, but you're also kind of in an echo chamber as well.
right.
You're fed things that will help you or make you stay on the app longer, and things that you won't disagree with typically. And so it's important to have long-form dialogue with people that you might not see eye to eye with. And it exposes you to different perspectives. And you might
Absolutely.
realize that you actually have more similarities than differences.
Absolutely. Nariba,
Yes. My last question?
Yes.
Okay.
This feels so calming.
I know. I'm just like, what time is it? What are we doing?
Continue.
So I guess you like talk a lot about like not being on a rig anymore and doing the whole shmammy, you know? But do you think that because you're like not in the field anymore and now you like teach and consult, do you think that that feeds
And
in
document.
Well, I'm talking about specifically for EMT things because I have this situation sometimes with not chefing anymore, but people still like referring to me as a chef. Do you think that plays into imposter syndrome?
Oh yeah, that's exactly where it comes from.
Dang it!
Yeah.
That's exactly where it comes from. But here's the thing. So because this is not going away, I want this class to live on even after I die. So as I progress through this class, I am teaching my instructors how to teach. And my instructors are very active in the field. They're medical students, nurses, firefighters, paramedics. But it is another skill set to understand how receptive your knowledge is being met with by the students. How to teach, when to pepper in some hands-on skills amongst your theory. And I am currently teaching my instructors how to teach. And when they are great instructors, I can be more hands-off because I felt like I had to have a stronghold on the teaching to maintain some type of consistency.
Okay.
But as I start to let go, I can focus on other things.
I don't know how to let go either.
Whether it's wedding photography, whether it's creating partnerships with the city, it allows me to do other things.
Fair.
And so it's hard to let go, but it's important eventually, especially if you're ambitious and you have other projects.
I guess, okay.
Yeah.
The last like rant before, I was talking to a coworker about this and like how I definitely live my life in the bubble of imposter syndrome. And he said to me, like, if you feel as though you have imposter syndrome, it just means that you care about the work that you're doing,
Right.
and you want to make sure you're doing the right thing always. It makes you more alert. Instead of like focusing on the imposter syndrome bit, focus on the things around it that indicate that you are still very good at what you're doing.
Oh yeah, exactly. I know I'm good.
Yeah.
I know I'm good. And that being said, I'm always trying to stay up on the knowledge. And, you know, when you're teaching anything, you kind of have to be forced to stay up on the knowledge too.
Current.
But the imposter syndrome comes from just teaching something I'm no longer active in. That being said, these are still life skills. The ability to stop a bleed, the ability to remain composed when someone gets hit by a bus. Like
I was going to say,
that stays with you.
I wrote down like, maybe it's the life and death work that makes him so chill.
And that's the thing. It's like, I recently got T-boned and my Wrangler was totaled. And immediately it felt like we were going to roll over. And after we settled, I was like, I'm okay. Are you okay? And we got out and just dealt with it. And be like, hey, let's exchange info and call the cops. Like, so I attribute that to maybe my experience in emergency medicine.
Happened to me December 17th.
Oh,
but I'm
my
not going
God,
to get into that. Because those that know. And
I mean, I watched a car flip over in front of my car like 3 days ago.
Yeah, wild.
It was wild.
Wild.
Everyone drives safely.
Yes, yeah.
Just
if you
do that.
take away almost anything from
this episode, just
please
drive safely. Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
But Victor, as we come to a close,
What'd you think?
How was your time with us?
It's not enough.
It never is.
It never
is.
It never is.
No.
We covered a wide breadth of things, and
it's like everything and nothing at the same time, all the time.
You're coming back for a part two.
Let me know.
Yeah,
it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. You guys are doing great things. It's important for the community, specifically the hospitality industry, and I've met a few in the industry via the podcast, and when you have this long form dialogue with someone, especially of a different perspective or different background, you gain a huge respect or appreciation for what they do. And so anytime we go out to a restaurant, I try to pay attention to everyone that plays a role in that restaurant, not just the person that brought me the food, not just the chef with the name on the restaurant. It's everyone.
Yeah. And also, I will say, to bring it in even tighter, it's just like, if you find yourself out here not being fulfilled in any sort of your passions, then it is up to you to learn the skills in order to stop the bleeding.
Oh,
I was waiting. I was like, I got it.
the
I wish I brought some
moment
tourniquets.
where I bring out
Come on.
Leona
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Bleeding Heart, Bleeding Love?
Yes, bleeding
There
love.
you go.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, here we are.
Yes. Well, so there has been a request from Max because you have read a poem before, and we just think that you should do it here. And he has sent a poem if you would feel so nicely to read.
Wait.
It's the poem that got me viral.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yes. There you go. Yeah. And we feel like it would be the perfect signature.
All right, you want to do something real special? Why don't you guys close your eyes?
Oh. Okay.
It is quite simple. Nothing that is meant for you will ever get away. Love deeply and without the need to possess or own. Let beautiful connections pass through you without attachment. Slam your heart into the people and the places and the things that ignite something deep inside your soul. And I promise, the right things will stay. You will never lose what is for you. Please don't ever forget that.
Gay. I love it. Sorry.
What? No, it's. Be still, my beating heart.
Oh.
I love it. But then also, I have to do the things that I know we have to do.
Damn.
So I want to thank Blind Barber for hosting this necessary conversation.
Absolutely. Yes.
Also, Ritual Zero Proof for the support. And Victor, thank you so much for joining
It
us.
was an honor.
Where can the people find you?
all 6 of them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the main 3. For the podcast, it's on Instagram. I am consciously curious. I know it's wordy, but very intentional. And then for photography, it's my name, Victor M.F. Chan.
Motherfucking Chan.
My friends would say that. Yeah, it's actually Ming Fei. And then Justine, my fiance, would say my favorite.
Oh,
I know.
Okay.
God.
She's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And then the EMT page, I can't believe it was available when I signed up for it, but Chicago EMT training on Instagram.
Damn.
Right.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Nariba.
Me first?
Yes.
Oh, it's me, Nariba Shepherd, and you can find me on Instagram at Rebaru, Rebaru. Yeah, that it.
And I am Justin Arnett Graham, and you can find me on Instagram at thisisbiko. And wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Amazing. Thank you.